Hi, welcome to the Craft Channel. My name's Corinne Brad and today I've got a video for you which is a bit different to what we normally do, but it's a bit close to home at the minute. So I've designed a chemo cap which is very simple to make. It's a no pattern make. You are welcome to make them for your friends, for your family, for yourself. To sell, I'd be grateful if you sell them, that you make some sort of donation to charity to do that and you don't sell the idea on. Because it's all too easy to forget that during this pandemic, and we've all been locked down, that people are still actually going through chemotherapy and losing their hair. So I'm going to take this off. I actually made these for my sister, who cut her hair off with a pair of kitchen scissors because she was fed up with it falling in her dinner. It was quite a shock when I saw her. So she wears it as a turban. When I originally designed it, I had it so that you tied it at the back. I look like something out of Star Wars when this isn't tied. Showed it to my daughter. I thought I was very 70s chic. She went, "You look like a pirate." So thanks, Amy. So whether you tie it at the back or at the front, it's entirely up to you. But I'm now going to take this off and hopefully my hair's not going to go all fly away. It is a very simple construction. You have a band of double layered jersey and then you have a strip of jersey that you taper the ends and you sew to the back and the front. I say it's no pattern because it is no pattern, but what you will need to do is you'll need to measure your head. Now I've got a feeling my head is 56 inches, and don't just measure around your head like this. You want to measure from the bottom, I can't turn the head round, the bottom of your head so that it sits on the slant and it covers all your head and it doesn't ride up. So my head is, that's not 56 inches at all, it's 56 centimetres. I haven't got that huge a head. Let's call it 58 centimetres to be on the safe side and allow for a seam allowance. And you should only need about 1/3 of a metre. Bear in mind that different jerseys have different degrees of stretch. You know, this one, for example, I think doesn't have as much stretch as that one. No, that one's actually quite snug. So I'll use this one here. And actually, if you can get to your local fabric shop, there's some beautiful jerseys out there. This one's actually an Art Gallery Fabrics one. So if you think, right, okay, 56 centimetres is the circumference of my head, I'm going to stretch this jersey to 56 centimetres. So when it's unstretched, it actually comes down to about 42. Let's stretch it a little bit more. What you want is a fit that is not going to come off. And at the minute, obviously, I've still got my hair, so it's got some friction against it. But you want to make sure that the recipient doesn't have to spend the whole day keep pulling it down, but also hasn't got any uncomfortable ties at the back there that are making their head more painful than it needs to be. So cut your 1/3 of jersey. To that width. And I've just remembered that my right-handed daughter was using my rotary cutter, so I've moved the blade around to the other side, which makes it as weird as hell. And then I'm also just going to cut off that selvage. Because sometimes the selvage on jersey can be quite hard. And again, with this cap, you want to try and make sure it is as, turn that over, you want to make sure it's as comfortable as possible. And you need this strip of jersey to be 16 centimetres deep. Now that looks really small compared to my head, but honestly, believe me, it will stretch. I hope it stretches, because otherwise when I try it on at the end of this demonstration, I'm going to look really stupid. So we'll cut it to 16. And then we simply fold it right sides together and sew down the two short edges. Now I am just using a domestic sewing machine, 5mm seam allowance. I'm going to do a 2 centimetre long stitch. But because I've got a, I've actually got a purple tipped needle in here that Janome do. It's going to play up for me today, isn't it? Let's just start that again. I know what I need to do. Yeah, the purple tip needle, it does mean that you can sew jersey fabric without it skipping stitches. That's a bit better. Band, and then fold it right sides out. Take your accessory drawer off, and just stitch with a zigzag all the way along the edge, just to hold it in place for the time being. And I'm stretching this as I sew it, because obviously this is the direction that the band will be stretched. Because they won't fray. I mean, if you've got an overlocker, then fine. Feel free to tidy your edges up properly. And before you go any further, just check the fit of that band on your head. Oh, I look like John McEnroe. So it's tight, but it's not going to slip off. It's not uncomfortably tight, but it does mean it's not going to slip off. Take the rest of your fabric. Again, just cut your selvage off. That rotary cutter being the wrong way round is absolutely driving me to distraction, so I'm just going to use it with scissors today. And then you just need a little bit of maths. So you need to fold your fabric in half. And find the centre point. And pin it. Pin it again on the other side. And my head diameter was 56 centimetres. So I'm going to take 16 of those centimetres, which will leave me with 40. And I'm going to put a pin 8 centimetres either side of that centre mark. And this will be the front of the hat. This will be the front of the hat? No, this will be the back. Well, it depends actually. If you want to tie it at the front, this will be the front of the cap. If you want to tie it at the back, this will be the back of the cap. I'm not explaining that very well, I do apologise. It doesn't really matter which bit is the front or the back, because you do tend to just manipulate the fabric once it's on your head. So I've taken 16 centimetres out of the diameter of my head. That leaves me with 40 centimetres. So I've got 20 centimetres here and here, either side of the centre mark of the other side. Fold it in half again, and what you want to do is from the, let me just check which way I need to do the diagonal. We need to cut a diagonal to taper the ends off, and I just want to check I do it from the wider. Yes. From the wider portion of fabric down to this piece here is where you want to cut your diagonal. So I'm just going to pin this to keep it flat. Again, you would probably do it with a rotary cutter if you don't have a rotary cutter, because perhaps this is the first sewing project you've ever considered doing. You can do it quite easily with scissors. Be brave and cut. Up to that point. That is the trickiest part. And it's not actually tricky, it's just tricky if you're me and you can't remember quite what you're supposed to be doing. So take your headband, and stitch the centre mark to the centre mark. And what you're going to do is you're going to stretch out the band, but pin the unstretched fabric to it. So remember, always remember, stretch the band, don't stretch the crown. And you only really need to put your starting and stopping pins in there, because as you pop it in the machine, take it back to your straight stitch and then sew, lock it in, and then stretch the band as you are stitching. So then obviously what happens is the band closes up, it does gather up that fabric on the crown. You then need to take the other side. Well, you need to actually find the centre point of your headband when it's unstretched, which is about here. Match up your centre point. And then where you've cut your, started to cut your diagonal, match that up to where you've stopped sewing that shorter front seam. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of space there, but when it stretches out, actually as it stretches out, I'm just going to put that in there so it doesn't bag too much. So again, find the other end of your diagonal, match it up to where you stop sewing the front seam on that band. And then stretch out the headband and just pin. And provided you keep that headband under tension as you sew, you shouldn't need more pins in it than that. Pop it back over the bed of your machine, lock it in, and then stretch that band as you sew your straight stitch. Also, when you stop sewing, if you stretch the band and the needle's out of your fabric, you might find it slips out from under the foot, because I've just reduced my foot pressure slightly so that I don't ruck up the jersey on the top. There you go. Now for the moment of truth. This is when I then realise that I've actually done this totally the wrong way round. Put your hand inside, grab that, pull it out, and what you should have is a strange looking jester's hat, or in fact a strange looking pair of pants. But once you pop it on your head, forgive me a minute, you can either tie it at the back and pretend you're Twiggy. I'm never going to be Twiggy. Or you can bring it forward, and I think the trick is also to bring it forward neatly, cross it over at the front, and then take those ends to the back and tie them again. So there's enough give in there that it's not a skull cap. You know, you've got a bit of variation. It's not going to make your head sweat too much, but it will keep it warm, especially in this weather. So I hope you enjoyed that demonstration. I hope you find some use from that demonstration. I hope you make your mates one if they need one. In the meantime, keep yourself safe. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.